After I'd been on staff for 3 years, I actually had requested to go to the University of Wisconsin in Madison to work full-time with international students. And I was pretty sure that was going to happen for a number of reasons. Instead, my new assignment came, and I was assigned to travel with a ministry called Paragon Experience, which is quite a surprise. Paragon, this was in the late 70s. Paragon Experience was a ministry of the time that used 3 large screens, 9 slide projectors, 1,000 slides. And the story was told through the lyrics of songs of popular artists. We used groups like Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Black Sabbath, Jim Croce, to communicate the message of God's love. And it was quite a dramatic show, but when it came to the University of Rhode Island, where I was working, I was in charge, and it did not go well. It went over like a lead balloon. It flopped, and I did not like the show. Plus, I didn't like loud rock, heavy rock music. So I didn't like the music. I was not interested in technology. I was not interested in traveling. There was nothing about this that was me. And yet it was my assignment. And back then in our organization, there was really no option. You either accepted your assignment without question, or you left staff, you quit. And I felt very strongly that God had asked me to join this organization, and I did not feel Him saying it was time to leave. And so I was praying about what to do, because I really did not want to do this. It was just totally not the right fit, not what I liked. And at that time, as God would have it, I was reading through the book of Genesis in the Bible. And I came to the story of Joseph, where he is sold into slavery, and eventually he has a chance to, his brothers come asking him for help, and he basically tells them, you meant this for evil, but God meant it for good. And I realized, I thought, if God can use for good what man means for evil, how much more can God use for good what man means as an honest mistake? Our leaders are not perfect. I'm a sinful person, they're sinful people. I make mistakes, they make mistakes. And they don't always make the right calls, simply because it's the nature of human nature. And yet, I really believe that in a Christian organization like ours, I can be sure that our leaders are really seeking God's will. Maybe they hear God's voice wrong, but they're at least trying to follow God, whereas in other organizations, I would never be sure of that. And that has helped me over the years in many different situations to say, I don't really understand this, I don't like this decision. In fact, I think it's a very wrong decision. But I can trust God with it. And I'm going to trust that you are at work, and trust that you will use this for good in some way that I can't even begin to imagine. As I mentioned, I didn't really like the music, I didn't really like the show. And yet, by the end of my time, just in terms of the outreach, I felt it was really a privilege to be able to be a part of it. And I spent 2 years traveling all around the United States. Then I spent a year traveling all around Europe, running the show, and it's fun and it's exciting. And I did get to like the music after a while, by the way. As time went on, I liked it. And I began to realize as time went on that I was having the chance to explain the message of God's love to tens of thousands of people in a way I never would have been able to do on my own. And that turned out to be a turning point in my life, because it opened the doors to much of what I've become in life. Whether I've become a journalist, I've been involved in communications, I've traveled widely to serve in other countries, gave me a passion for other countries. It goes on and on and on, but it really all goes back to, I think, when I said, okay, God, I don't understand this, I don't like it, but I'm willing to do it and trust that you will use it for good in some way. And so the idea of God as this great, majestic king on high, ruling over all nature, all creation, is very exciting to me, to think that's who I serve. And put my sword at your service. Send me where you would. So that's been extremely helpful to me. I think when you're in any organization for many, many years and decades, you're going to have disappointments. And that lesson helped me through many of the disappointments along the way to trust that God is working through my leaders even when I don't understand.